Dr. Joshua Ademuwagun is a seasoned organizational effectiveness strategist, profit growth expert, HR practitioner, change management and corporate culture expert, conference speaker, trainer, author, life coach, and team building facilitator. He is currently the Human Resource Director at Pernod Ricard in Nigeria, a global FMCG with over 280 brands under its business. Joshua was an Associate Director in the People and Change Practice of KPMG in Nigeria. He was the Senior Managing Consultant and Head of Advisory of the People's Transformation Human Resource Consulting Practice as PCL, the largest and most influential indigenous consulting firm in Nigeria, West Africa. He has over 18 years of experience in human capital management, organizational development, change management, balanced scorecard design and implementation, strategy formulation and implementation, learning and development, employee engagement, leadership development, team building, HR project management, performance management, HR business partnering, talent acquisition, career advisory and planning, and evidence-based HR. He has successfully led and managed HR transformation and strategy execution projects for several multinationals and SMEs. He has formulated, designed, and implemented smart initiatives that help organizations deliver on their business strategy and objectives. Joshua holds the following degrees and certification: BSc Geography Social Sciences, University of Ibadan; Masters in International Law and Diplomacy, University of Lagos; Master of Divinity, Grace Spring Bible College and Seminary, Lagos; MBA student, Nexford University, USA in view; Doctor of Commerce and Enterprise Development, Global Professional in Human Resources, USA; Senior Professional in Human Resources International, USA; Career Advisory Training Diploma in USA; Practitioner and Facilitator Certification, High Performance Coaching, Jesus College, University of Cambridge, UK; Certificate in Workforce Planning, Human Capital Growth Institute, USA; Certified Change Management Professional, Balanced Scorecard Certified Practitioner, Balanced Scorecard Institute, USA. Is a member of the following professional bodies: full member, Chartered Institute of Personal Management of Nigeria; Senior Research Fellow, Institute of Commerce and Enterprise Development, Nigeria. He and his family lives in Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's welcome Dr. Joshua Ademuwagun.
Hello and good morning. Morning. Good morning to each and every one of you. I'm sincerely happy to be part of the Accelerate Students Conference. I think a good way to start is to first and foremost apologize to each and every one of you for not being able to be at the conference physically. I would have really wanted to, I planned to, but life happens. I was also scheduled to be at another meeting, and very painfully it's a meeting that I am facilitating, so I had to be there. So sincere apologies to each and every one of you. I do hope that very soon I'll be able to be with you physically and meet you, because we can speak online. I can do a recording as I'm doing now and send across to you, but there is a joy, a special joy that comes with meeting each and every one of you physically and connecting with you. I would not have the opportunity to do that today, but I hope I'll be able to do that very soon. So I want to say sincere apologies again. Please accept my apologies, right? And I want to thank the convener of this great conference, Esther Kodu. Thank you so much for believing in me enough to invite me to come and speak at the conference in this particular edition. I do not take it for granted, the same way I do not take for granted the opportunity to instruct individuals, even if it is one mind. It's always a privilege on my path. I also want to appreciate my fellow speaker, my dear brother, Mr. Tosi Aleriwa. Thank you so much, sir, for everything you're doing. And it was good being at your conference some few months ago. And I really hope that I was going to meet you physically again, and let's connect and reconnect and have conversations. But I mean, sadly, that would not be able to happen today. But thank you so much, sir. I'm sure you're there physically, and I know you do a fantastic job. God bless you, sir. This morning, the title of the conference is Transcend. So I've been saddled with that responsibility to also lend my own voice to address what this conference really speaks about. Transcend. You know, I looked up the word transcend in the dictionary, and I discovered that word means to rise above limits, to go beyond the norm. It means that if there is a normal way people have been doing something, to transcend means to go beyond the way people have been doing things. It's to live an extraordinary life. That's what it means to live a transcendent life, right? To transcend would mean to live life in such a way that you break barriers, you break limits, you live above your potential. And to transcend would simply mean, even though as an undergraduate, would mean to exceed expectations, right? If the expectation is for you to perform at a particular level, to transcend means you would not only perform at that level, but you would go beyond that level and you will do something greater. To ascend or transcend means to live a great life. And this morning, I would like to share with you a few thoughts that would help you to live a transcendent life, if you permit me to call it that. A transcendent life, a life that is always going and experiencing results above the norm. You know, and the things I'm going to share with you are things that you would be able to use in your undergraduate days, and you would be able to use beyond your undergraduate days. Because the truth is this, you're not going to be a student forever. And I mean in the context of formal education. You know, you would not be in the university forever. One day you graduate. And after you graduate, there are expectations from people, but more importantly, there is expectation from life where you are concerned. Okay? Everyone who has gone through the four walls of an institution of learning, as great as Yabatek, right, would tell you that the days you're going to spend as an undergraduate, though it might look long right now, but trust me, they are very short days. There are more years you're going to spend outside being an undergraduate, right? And in those years, some of the things you're learning now are the things that would form the foundation for the results that you're going to be experiencing when you leave the university or the higher institution of learning, as it's the case may be. So I want to share with you some few thoughts that I believe would not only bless you, but more importantly, would empower you and position you to do great things, both as an undergraduate and after you leave your undergraduate days. 4 very important thoughts. Those thoughts would help you to live a transcendent life, a life that surpasses the limits, a life that lives above the norm, a life that is extraordinary, if you want me to call it that. All right? Okay, so those 4 things are this. Number 1, your life is going to be based on how well you understand the first thing, potential. Potential. That word potential is a powerful word. You know, when I have the opportunity to speak to people about doing great things with their lives, I start by talking to them about potential, because a lot of people do not understand that word potential. What is potential? People think and will tell you that potential is what you have done or what you've not yet done. And they say that is potential. No. You see, potential is what you can do that you've not yet done. Your potential is all that you can be that you have not yet become. Think about it. Your potential is dormant ability. That dormant ability that you have in you and you can exhibit to realize your destiny, to realize the reason why you were born. And you cannot have a fruitful conversation about potential without referring to a particular word, and that word is the word purpose. You might have heard this being said before. There is a reason why you exist on the face of the earth. There is a purpose to your existence. There is no human being on the face of the earth that is an accidental creation. Every human being was designed by the Creator to come to the face of the earth to fulfill a particular purpose. And your purpose is your why, is why you exist, why you are here. Your purpose is closely tied to your assignment, why you exist, what your assignment is about, accomplishing. That is your purpose. Now, each and every human being has been designed by the Creator to fulfill a particular reason on the face of the earth. Now, to fulfill that reason effectively, the Creator has also embedded certain abilities in you. Hence, we come to the word potential. You see, that your potential is the manifestation of that ability, right? And that you have not yet manifested. I don't know if that's making some sense to us. For example, when you have a pressing iron, okay? Now, the surface of a pressing iron is flat. Now, what is the purpose of a pressing iron? Of course, layman will tell you to make the clothes smooth. And yes, you're not wrong, right? But from what I was taught in primary school, part of the purpose of a pressing iron is to kill the germs that would exist on the cloth, right? So in the process, it makes the cloth smooth. Is that okay? Now, imagine if an iron was made and rather than the surface being smooth, the surface is very rough. Would it be able to fulfill its purpose? The answer is no, right? The reason why the pressing iron can fulfill its purpose of smoothing clothes and killing germs effectively is because when the manufacturers of the pressing iron were manufacturing the pressing iron, they ensured that they thought about the purpose, and then because of that, they made the surface smooth so that it can fulfill its purpose. Now, the potential of that iron are all the clothes the iron can press, all the germs the iron can kill, that it has not killed nor pressed yet. That is the potential of the pressing iron, or a particular pressing iron. So what is your potential? Your potential is all you can be that you have not yet become. And God has deliberately designed you in such a way that you have been equipped with everything necessary to fulfill your purpose. However, the responsibility, the onus lies on you to become all that the Creator wants you to become. Now, this is the interesting thing, right? This is the interesting thing. The interesting thing is this. Your potential is not what you have done. Your potential is what you can do that you've not done yet. Your potential, I mean, fantastic if you are currently a first-class student. But you see, your potential is not the first class grades that you have gotten, or the second class upper grades you've gotten, or however, or whatever success would mean to you at this level. That is not your potential. Anything you've attained, you've attained. Your potential is what you can attain that you've not attained yet. Hence, it is important that when people look at their lives, they ensure that they are competing against their potential, not competing against other people. Competing against your potential means every single day you are challenging yourself to do more. You're challenging yourself to do better. You are challenging yourself to do greater, because you can. Now, someone might look at certain individuals in the world today, the Bill Gates of the world. Someone, you're sitting there, and you might come from a poor background, and or a regular background, as the case may be, and you're looking at people, the Bill Gates of this world, the Steve Jobs of this world, the Elon Musks of this world. You're looking at great people, including my brother, Mr. Tosi Aleriwa, who is with you there. You're looking at him, and you're looking at different people. You're looking at myself, and you're saying, wow, these people have accomplished so much in their lives. When will I ever be able to accomplish that? Well, I have good news for you. You see, it is okay. Your potential is to even become greater than whatever all of these people, including ourselves, have accomplished. That is your potential. I'm so grateful that that word exists in the form in which it exists, because potential guarantees that I can become anything that the Creator has designed me to become. If I am a thousandaire now, potential tells me I can become a zillionaire. That's what potential tells me. I can become wealthier than the Dangotes of this world. That's what potential. So you see, whenever I see undergraduate students, right, I respect them, because I would be remiss to look at an undergraduate student and think that the student has become all that God has created them to be at this stage of their lives. The truth is this: whatever you are right now is not all of you. You can become greater. You can do better. You can do bigger. You can become the next big thing happening on the face of the earth. You can become the next president of our nation. You can become the person who will shape our nation. You can become the person who would make that invention that redefines the way humanity operates and humanity works right now. That is potential. You can become the next great scientist that the world will know. You can become the next Albert Einstein. That is the power of potential. That whatever you see right now exists in its seed form. A seed, when you look at a seed, if I had a grain of corn or maize in my hands, and I came to you and I said, what is this? I am sure you are going to tell me, oh, it's a seed of corn or a seed of maize. But you see, you are looking at that seed as the seed currently exists. If you were to look at the seed through the eyes of potential, when you look at that seed, what you are really seeing is a plantation. Because when you plant this seed, it generates more cobs of corn. When you plant the seeds from the cobs of corn, right, that you see, you have more corn plants, and I don't know what they call it now. But bottom line is that if you keep planting the seeds that come out, right, it's only a matter of time. What you would have is a full farm. Later on, you can have a full plantation. But everything started with planting one seed. And that is the power of potential. You see, everything you see exists in the seed form. To look at that thing and disdain that thing is to be doing yourself a huge disservice. Because that seed can become a farm. That seed can become a plantation. Because that is the power of potential. So I want you to, as you're seated in the room or in the hall this morning, I want you to look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, this is not all of me. Tell your neighbor, this is not all of me. This is not all of me. There is more to me than you can see. Tell your neighbor that. There is more to me than you can see. I am more than this. Tell your neighbor that. I am more than this. I am more than this. And you're right. You're right. You're right. Because you currently exist in the seed form, regardless of what you've accomplished in the past. Right? You exist in the seed form. Your potential is all you can become that you have not yet become. Now, that is the first word. On the journey to living a transcendent life, a life that goes beyond limits, a life that is extraordinary, right? The first thing you must understand is the concept of potential. The second thing you must understand is the power of a solid belief system. The power of a solid belief system. After you've understood potential, the next thing you must understand is the power of a solid belief system. Belief, trust me, is powerful. Somebody said it, and I believe it. He said the history of humanity is the history of human beliefs. The history of humanity is the history of human beliefs. Everybody who has accomplished anything great in life started out by believing what others disbelieved. What is a belief? A belief is a conviction, a strong conviction that something is possible. And that belief drives you to live your life in a certain way. Your belief drives you to maximize your potential. I remember many years ago, while I was in the university, specifically University of Ibadan, my undergraduate days, I remember one of the days I went to the zoo, and when I got to the zoo, seeing the lions, the ostrich, the monkeys, the chimpanzees, the orangutans, the snakes, all of that. I mean, I got to one particular place in the UI Zoo. I don't know how many of us have gone to the zoo in the University of Ibadan before. So I got to that place and I saw a house. Now, it was a very interesting house. So it was like a valley, right? So when you have the valley, and then so if you are standing, you'll be standing above and looking down at the valley. And when you look down at the valley, you see this house that was something like a cave. All right, and then around the cave you had a stream of water, and when you look properly at the stream of water, what you find is some sort of like some protruding electrical poles, yeah, with some wires. Now they are rusted, and but you can still see it. And I asked the zookeepers, I said, what exactly is this? Because I didn't see any animal there. They said, oh, that's the house of the chimpanzee, or the gorilla now, the gorilla. And I said, oh, really? I said, oh, tell me more about this gorilla. They said, oh, the gorilla is dead now. The gorilla used to be called Haruna, in those days. And they told me the story. They said, oh, when they got the gorilla and put him in there, they discovered that the gorilla was always trying to escape. So what they did was to build the stream of water around it and then put that electricity, some electricity inside the water, so that every time the gorilla tried to escape, when it touches the water it will experience some shock, electric shock, and will run back into the cave. And I said, wow. I said, that's very interesting. I said, so what did that happen till the gorilla died? They said, no. That after about a week or so, they put it off, right? Because they didn't need electricity going through it, because they also didn't want the gorilla to die. I said, oh, interesting. So if they put it off, how come the gorilla never climbed out of the house? They laughed and they said, every time the gorilla went near the water and mistakenly touched the water, Of course, there was no electricity flowing again through the wire, but the gorilla would experience mentally a shock, and the gorilla will run back into the cave as though it had really experienced a shock. Now, you see, that is the power of beliefs. I learned something that day I can never forget. That is the power of belief. I said, wow, how many people are living their lives, right, experiencing a shock that does not really exist, and they've conditioned their lives based on that thing that does not really exist. Beliefs are powerful. Your belief determines how far you will go in life, how far you would experience results in life. Your belief system. One of the most important things you can do to yourself is to build a healthy and strong belief system. A balanced belief system. A belief system that does not see impossibilities. A belief system that all it sees are possibilities. And you see, sadly, some of us, how we grew up, our background, the environment in which we currently exist, what people might have told us, including our parents, very innocently, what people might have told us about life. You've been conditioned to think about impossibilities, to think about limitations. You see, you can never rise above the limitations that you see. Oh, you can never rise above the limitations that you see in your mind. So what of the things you can do to yourself after understanding the power of potential, right, is to understand the power of building a healthy and strong belief system. How do you do that? By getting right information. Information that tells you I can. Information that tells you I can achieve anything that I set my mind to do. Information that tells you that regardless of what life throws at you, you can always survive and come out a victor and a champion. The kind of information that tells you that, you see, in life I can become a global star. I can become a global champion. Some of us are starting a business, and some of you will do. Some of you might have even started one now. And the way you're thinking about the business, oh, let's just have this small business in one small corner. No. You can actually dream and see your business becoming the business. The guys that own the Apples of this world, the Microsofts of this world, the Googles of this world, they do not have two heads. I can assure you, they are not smarter than some of us. The only difference is that they believe differently. They believe that their organization, their company can become one that takes over the world, so it is taking over the world. Friends, you can believe the same. You can believe the same. Don't let society and what is happening around you beat you into a mold that does not work in alignment with your potential. If you go to a block factory, right, what they do is that they have something called a mold. So they put cement in it and it forms. So it forms a particular shape. If they want the shape of the block to be star, they create a star mold. And so anything that enters comes out as a star. Your mind is your mold. The question is, have you built a mold that is limiting you, or have you built a mold that is unlimited in its experience? That's the second thing. After potential, understanding the power of potential, the concept of potential, the next thing is to understand that you need to build a strong and healthy belief system. The third thing that you need to know if you want to live a life that goes beyond limits, goes beyond the extraordinary, is to live a life that understands the power of action. Action. You know what the Nike advert says? Nike says, just do it. Action. a lot of individuals are not experiencing and will not experience the expressions of their potential because they refuse to act. The world is built for actors, people who would act, people who would do things, people who will pursue results, not complacent people, not people who procrastinate, but people who will make up, define a direction and then they go for it. Many years ago, I was privileged to be in a meeting before the current president of Nigeria, President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, got into office. This was while he was still campaigning, and someone who knew him quite well was having a conversation with myself and some other people I respect so much. And we're having this conversation, and he said, you know what I like about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu? He says he's such a man that when he decides on a direction, he goes for it. He says he goes for it, ignoring all the noise that is around. He's so focused and fixated on achieving that goal that he does not even hear all of you talking. Go for it. You see, be so purposeful that you do not hear neither the praises of men nor the criticisms of men. I heard a story of a particular king, right? The king died and his son was going to take over. So after the king died, of course, and his son took over, his son was young and started looking for trouble everywhere. Go to this other land and tell them that, I can come and fight you and take over your territory. And in those days, territory and land was everything. And then one day he decided to go look for the trouble of an older king. The older king sent him a message and said, see, I was your father's contemporary. I was your father's friend in a way. And your father and I had this mutual respect for each other. That because of your father, I want to plead with you that don't come and fight me. If you fight me, I will defeat you and I will take your land. But I respect your father enough to leave you and your land. And this young king did not dare, youthful exuberance. And he spoke to his friends. His friends said, don't worry, go and fight. We'll back you up. And of course he decided to. Now this is the interesting thing. The story goes thus. The young king took his army, went to fight the old king. Of course the old king defeated his army. And after the old king defeated his army, the old king, arrested him, was a prisoner of war, and had him locked up. On a particular day, the old king invited him out, told them to bring him out. And when he came out, he saw something very interesting. He saw, a long line of people. On one side on the left, another long line on the right. So two long lines of people. And the king told him that he would want to teach him a lesson. Told him to take a spoon, and in that spoon there was an egg that was put in the spoon, and told him that he was going to walk from the beginning of the line to the end of the line. Now the people on the right were going to be praising him, saying, king, there is none like you. You are powerful, you are wonderful, you are strong, don't let anybody deceive you. They'll be praising him. Now the people on the left will be abusing him, say, you are a stupid king, useless king, see his head, very arrogant. Now, so while these people are praising, these people will be criticizing him. And then behind this young king was a guy who had a knife or a sword, and he had put the sword very close to his neck. And the old king told this young king, said, see, you're going to walk from the beginning of the line about 100 meters, to the end of the line, holding this egg in the spoon. He says, if this egg falls down, the guy behind you has commandments to take off your neck, chop off your neck. So your responsibility is to walk from the beginning of the line to the end of the line. And so he said, oh yeah, go. This young king was walking, and this guy was ready to chop off his neck. The people on the left were praising him. The people on the right were abusing him and criticizing him. And he was going. They were talking, abuse, abuse, praise. He was going. When he got to the end of the line, the king said, okay, of course, the egg won't fall. I'm sure if you and I, if you were the one, the egg would not fall. And when he got to the end of the line, the egg didn't fall. All attempts for the egg to fall, he will hold it. He will come. When he got to the end of the line, the king now called him, the older king, now called him and said, sorry, can I ask you a question? Why didn't the egg fall? He said, if the egg fell, my head was going to go off, I would die. He said, okay. He said, so did you hear the people praising you? Or did you hear the people criticizing you? The young king said, at that point, I wasn't hearing anything. I wasn't hearing any of them, but the people praising and the people criticizing. All that mattered to me was ensuring this egg did not fall and ensuring that I kept my life intact to and fro. And then the old king said, I want to teach you something, a lesson. That you will live long if you are able to deafen your ears to people praising you and deafen your ears to people criticizing you. All you need to consistently be doing is to be taking dedicated, strategic, pointed action. And I want to say the same thing to each and every one of us in the hall today. Action is what defines kings. Action is what defines achievers. People who achieve results are people of action. They are not people who procrastinate. Procrastination is something you must kill in your life. You must make sure that you are the kind of person who thinks about something and you go for it. Yes, go for it. Of course, go for it with counsel. Go for it with wisdom. Learn all you can about it. Go for it strategically. Go for it in truth. But more importantly, make sure you go for it. Action is a very important attribute of achievers. The last point is results. Being a person of results, not a person of efforts. We have so many people in our world today that they applaud themselves and expect people to understand that they have put in some effort. But I've come to tell you, friends, life does not reward effort. Life rewards results. You must become a person of results. And one of the ways to do that is to become a principle-centered person. You cannot be an emotional person. You live life based on how you feel. Sadly, I know some of the people I'm talking to in the hall today, you are of the Generation Z, the Gen Zs, as we call them. You see, one of the things I've discovered is that a lot of Gen Zs, and not all of you, but a lot of us, you live life based on emotion. Say, oh, this is how I'm feeling today. People, they are gaslighting me. So you get upset. You live life on the edge. My people, you must make up your mind to become a person of results and no excuses. You see, a lot of times, excuses are the things that stop us from getting results. You can give me 1,001 excuses why you did not get something done. But the truth is, at the end of the day, you will not find one reason why you didn't get it done. You have excuses. I told someone some weeks back, I was telling the person the story of how my very first job, one of my very first jobs, I remember one day I had a meeting. And because to attend that meeting, the meeting was 8 a.m. somewhere in Victoria Island in Lagos. And at that time I didn't have a car. I was quite young then. And those days when rain starts falling at 4 a.m. in the morning, those days, Monday morning and it starts to fall, rain, cats and dogs. It will rain. You'll be expecting it to stop. It would not stop. So I was expecting it should stop. It will stop. It didn't stop. And I was living somewhere in Lagos called Ogba then, for those of you who know Lagos. And Ogba to VI will take some time. And you know, the days it rains, Lagos is always in a chaos. So I knew that if I waited for the rain to stop, and I wasn't even sure when it would stop, getting from Ogba to VI, I would not make my 8 a.m. meeting. So by 5 a.m., I took the shirt I was going to wear, pressed it, folded it, the suits I was going to wear, pressed it, folded it, shoe, socks, everything. And I took a small perfume, put it in, you know, a comb, put it in a bag, a polythene bag, and tied it up. Put it in another polythene bag, tied it up. Wore a pair of jeans that I didn't mind if it got wet, wore a t-shirt, slippers, got into the rain, got into a bus, moved and got to VI, went into the toilet of the company I had gone to. It was at 8 a.m., but I got there around 7:30 thereabout. Went in, changed, you know, got out of my wet clothes, squeezed the clothes, put it into the poly bag, sprayed my little perfume, cleaned my hair, brushed my hair, cleaned my shoe, came out, went in for my meeting, 8 a.m. Nobody knew I went through something like that. If it was in those days, these days, you have people who call you and tell you that, sorry, Oga, it's raining, I can't make it. How dare I tell my Oga I couldn't make it? I could have many excuses, but you see, I had been conditioned to always think in terms of achieving results. If you think in terms of potential, that you are more than this, all right? You think in terms of building a powerful belief system, an empowering belief system, that you can achieve anything that you set your mind to achieve. You become a person of action, a person who goes for things, and you take action strategically, all right? And you become a person of results, somebody who does not take excuses. You know, you tell your body how to feel. You go for things. You look for ways and not reasons why it won't work, but you look for ways in which something would work. What would happen at the end of the day is that you would be an individual living life above and beyond limits. I round up by telling you a story. Two young boys were living in a town. They heard that in this town there was a great wise man. So they decided to test this man to find out how wise he was. They caught a butterfly. One of them caught a butterfly. They didn't kill the butterfly, so he had the butterfly in his hands. And they both went to this old wise man and they said, "Sir, we want to ask you a question," with their hand, one of them's hand at his back. I said, "We want to ask you a question. We want you to tell us if we have a butterfly in one of us's hands. We want you to tell us, is this butterfly dead or alive?" And after the old man thought for a while, he looked at them and said, "You know, the truth is this." And they had a plan. If the old man had said the butterfly was alive, right, he was planning to squeeze his hand a little bit, kill the butterfly and bring it down and say, "Oh, it's dead." Or if the old man had said the butterfly was dead, he would just open his hands and the butterfly would fly out. So any which way, they thought they had gotten the old man. And the old man looked at them after thinking for a while and said, "Whether the butterfly is alive or dead, it all depends on you." I want to tell you something, my friends. The kind of life you're going to live, both as an undergraduate and as someone who has graduated and as you live life, right? The kind of life you will live would all depend on you. Nobody else. It would all depend on you. So make up your mind to be a person who would live life transcendently. Thank you so much for having me. I want to thank Esther Akodu. Thank you so much, the convener, for inviting me. And again, I want to thank each and every one of you for understanding my physical absence. But I do hope that you've learned one or two things. I trust that one day I'll be able to be physically with you to share my thoughts and, more importantly, to connect with you and to meet you one-on-one. So thank you so much, and do enjoy the remaining parts of the conference. I'm sure my brother Mr. Tosi will do a fantastic job and he would answer all your questions. All right. So thank you so much, and God bless you. Thank you, and take care.